Good evening, SICW fans. Brian Whitaker here with your SICW Sunday night update. Some will like this, some will hate this, but tonight, per his contractual agreements, Herb Simmons has decided not to be here, and I get to host the show with none other than Travis Cook. Travis, as much as it pains me to say,
it doesn't.
Welcome to the SICW Sunday Night Update.
It doesn't pain you at all. This is the first time in all the months you've been doing this show that you've had some star power here. Your views and your likes and your ratings and whatever it is you people do in the social media world is going to go through the roof because you've got star power. You know, for the last several weeks or months it is, I've been getting word coming back to me that you've been, not you particularly, because I know you're just the gopher, but Herb Simmons has been maligning my good name. He has been telling falsehoods about me. He has been wrongly and negatively besmirching my reputation. So I've come out here, I invoked it in my contract to come out here and set the record straight on more than a few things tonight, and for once, give you people out there an unbiased and truthful viewpoint as to what's going on in Southern Illinois Championship Wrestling and professional wrestling in general and the world today.
Well, Travis, don't you find it a little strange that you finally get that time to come up and the promoter doesn't even think you're worth it to be here?
No, he's a coward. Because he knows if I start telling the truth, that's going to put him in a bad position. He doesn't want to be embarrassed that way. So he's off somewhere, I don't know where he's at doing whatever. It's probably corrupt, whatever it is. So he doesn't want to be in the same room with me. That's fine. That's fine. Because all you need on this show is me. Really, we don't even need you.
Well, I mean, you know, we discussed that on whether or not I even needed to be here, but somebody had to be here to keep the show a little bit in line, and
really they didn't,
and make sure that
they really didn't.
You don't get too far on your radical behavior.
You could turn
as it relates to the Travis Cook organization and your opinions of professional wrestling.
You could turn this into the Travis Cook show, and it would do gangbusters ratings. It would put AEW out of business. It would put NXT out of business. It'd put all of them out of business. You just make this the Travis Cook show for a half hour or an hour or whatever it is, and you'll be just fine.
So, with all that being said, why is it you wanted to be here?
As I said, I want to dispel some of the falsehoods that have been told about myself and the Travis Cook organization over the last several months by Herb Simmons and to a lesser extent yourself, and to give these people a good read on exactly what is happening in SICW. There's so much going on.
So before we get into October 19th and the matches to come yet this year that I'm sure the Travis Cook organization will have every bit of their involvement.
Of course. You can't have a card without us.
What would you like to talk about the past? Since I drew the short straw and got to sit here with you for 30 minutes, we at least need to talk about something.
Okay, well, the first thing I'd like to mention, because I know that Herb Simmons and some of the fans have spread some false rumors about this. I'd like to talk a little bit about my medical condition. You can see I have to wear this eye patch upon my eye. That is the result of Flash Flanagan using a fireball and burning me. I still cannot see out of this eye to this day. I don't know when or if I'll be able to see out of that eye ever again. And that wasn't the first thing Flash Flanagan did to me. Oh no. Back in December, Flash Flanagan and Herb Simmons, it took two of them to do it, locked me in a cage and beat me to the point that I had to get around in a wheelchair for about 3 months because my knee was so injured. And to think that Herb Simmons and Flash Flanagan and Ricky Cruz and some of the fans and all these guys come out here and try to convince you that I'm making a little bit more of this than what it is. That I'm not being truthful with you. That I'm not being above board. Do you really think I would spend my time walking around in an eye patch if I didn't have to? Do you know how uncomfortable these things are?
Well, I can imagine.
They chafe.
I can imagine it's pretty uncomfortable, but I've seen you stoop to some pretty big lows.
No, you haven't.
To come out ahead. So I got to agree. And I'm watching quite the fights going on. You got some fans on here. You've got some haters on here tonight. You have others that are saying Maybe he doesn't have a medical condition, but he might have a mental condition.
No. Of course, I have some fans out there. I will.
And both of them are watching.
Oh, it's far more than just two people. Believe me. There are people out there that are intelligent enough. There's not a lot of them, but there's some people out there that are intelligent enough to understand and realize cream rising to the top when they see it. Professional wrestling used to have a lot of great managers. Bobby Heenan and Freddie Blassie and Jimmy Hart and all these guys. But in 2019,
a lot of which have come to SICW,
and a lot of which I've run out of SICW,
and have been involved in altercations with the Travis Cook organization.
And we came out on top, as we always do. But in 2019, I'm pretty much it. I'm the only great manager left in professional wrestling the world over. You can talk WWE, AEW, NWA, whatever. I'm it. I'm the last guy. I'm the one that's left. So there are some people that understand my contributions to professional wrestling and the world in general, and they become fans of mine, and I appreciate that. I hear that Curtis Wilde has some kind of fan club going on right now that people are starting up for.
They are. There's a few individuals that have started this Curtis Wilde fan club, and I hear she might be interested in starting the Travis Cook fan club.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think we need a Travis Cook fan club. We got to come up with some parameters for membership because we just can't have everybody getting into this thing. But if you want to be a member of the Travis Cook fan club, let's see. Well, first of all, you need to be female in between the ages of 18 and 29. You need to send in a photo, tasteful photo, of course, and you need to write down your measurements. You need to write down a paragraph of why you think you would be a good candidate for the Travis Cook Organization fan club, and I will personally review all of those photos and all of those essays, and I will make the decision as who can be in my fan club and who can. That's a great idea. Well, I can't believe you stumbled upon that. Travis, you had a good idea for once.
You're getting a little fired up here, so let's take a moment and listen to one of our sponsors here that makes SICW SICW Sunday Night Update work. Let's hear from CBD Hemp USA real quick. SICW would like to welcome our new sponsor, CBD Hemp USA. They produce innovative, one-of-a-kind, custom-formulated products. CBD Hemp USA is the king of flavored tinctures with many organic extract flavors to choose from, as well as exotic flavors such as white chocolate strawberry, salted caramel, and s'mores. CBD is known for helping people get off numerous prescription medications. It can relieve symptoms of discomfort from a vast amount of ailments and is an excellent anti-inflammatory. Pro wrestling superstars Tommy Dreamer and Val Venus have spoken out on the use of the benefits of CBD for pain relief and anxiety. The benefits don't stop there. If you're interested in making some additional money and becoming an independent sales representative and owning your very own CBD business, interested in starting your own business or trying some of the CBD Hemp USA products, text or call Lynn Morris at 618-806-1616. We're glad to have them as a proud sponsor of SICW Wrestling. Well, some great products there available from CBD Hemp USA. You might try taking some of those. Might calm you down a little bit, get rid of some of that hostility.
Why do I need to calm down? I'm a very successful person. And part of that success comes from my natural enthusiasm for doing a job well. My natural enthusiasm for taking professional wrestlers and getting the absolute best out of them, making them the best that they can be. I would never want to besmirch that enthusiasm or to reduce that in any sort of way. No, my enthusiasm, my gift for doing the right thing for people, that's what's made me successful, and I want to do more of that.
So you talk about being this great manager. I can't even keep up with the comments that are coming in. Everybody,
but people love me.
Well, there's some questionable things here but one of the big things that's coming up is, where does Travis Cook see himself through the rest of the year? What are the plans of the Travis Cook organization? Can you trust all of the members of the Travis Cook organization?
Oh, I can trust all of the members of the Travis Cook organization. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. Attila Khan has had probably in 2018 and into 2019 the best year that any single wrestler has had in a long, long time. He has an amazing one-loss record. He defeated Tommy Dreamer clean in the center of the ring in Belleville, Illinois, and Tommy Dreamer is never going to come back here again because he got his brains beat out when he met Attila Khan, and then he beat Ricky Cruz up so bad that Ricky Cruz decided, I'm not going to wrestle Attila Khan again. I'm going to go on a moral crusade instead. I'm going to go on a moral crusade to get Curtis Wilde out of professional wrestling, and that worked out real well for Ricky Cruz, didn't it? Yeah, the moral crusade beat your brains out and took your title. So Attila Khan has done great things. King Christopher Hargis and the talented Ken Casa have formed a magnificent tag team, a tag team that I would put up not only against anybody in SICW, but any tag team across the country. They're that good. They were two great singles wrestlers. They had great matches against each other, but nobody could keep up with them, so it made sense to just make them a team where they could dominate everybody. And the superstar, Steve Fender, your former classic heavyweight champion, he's coming off of a vacation. He's recharged. He's in great shape. He told me he's in the best shape he's ever been in. And the superstar, Steve Fender, is on his way back. He'll be back here October the 19th. I can trust every one of those four men.
Well, before we get into October 19th, let's talk about the bounty that's been out there for a while. You're wearing an eye patch today because of none other than Flash Flanagan.
That's true.
Because Flash Flanagan gave you what you deserved.
No, he did not give me what he deserved. Brutalizing somebody in a ring is not what I deserve. I went into that situation, I went into that match as a gentleman, as a sportsman, and in good faith. And he, behind my back, had a fireball ready. I turned around, he launched it in my face for no reason.
But did he not learn that fireball from your man, the superstar Steve Fender?
Well, the superstar
Flash is on here with us tonight, and he's saying something about Travis has no balls.
I'm surprised Flash Flanagan can type that.
I think I've heard that in a match before.
You know, the only reason that the superstar used a fireball on Flash Flanagan to begin with was self-defense. If you go back and watch the tape, Flanagan had that kendo stick of his, which any master of the martial arts, which I am myself, will tell you that a kendo stick, when used properly, is a lethal weapon. Now, Steve was in the ring without a weapon in his hand, and Flash had that kendo stick. He had to do something to defend himself, so he launched the fireball out of desperation. And now Flash Flanagan thinks that's justification to attack me, and I'm not even a professional wrestler. I was a great athlete at one time, but I'm not a professional wrestler, and he attacks me, a manager, someone who stands at ringside doing nothing more than giving advice. I have never interfered in my life. I do nothing more than stand at ringside and give advice and words of encouragement to great young athletes who are trying to make their way, and I get attacked for that.
So you don't feel that some of your wrestlers have been unfairly advantaged by the assistance you give them at ringside?
If my wrestlers have been unfairly advantaged, as you say, it's been only by one thing and one thing only, and that is my mind. That is my brilliance. That is the training regiment that I put them through. That is the strategy that I have put together for them before each and every match. Yeah, that probably does give them an unfair advantage because none of these other wrestlers around here are as good in terms of strategy as I am.
So you don't have wrestlers that have used a fireball? Or maybe
only in
a certain wrestler that consistently hides a foreign object that resembles a fork.
What are you talking about?
That many of the fans are talking about it here. And
what you made that up out of whole cloth, didn't you? A fork? Are you serious? I have never seen a wrestler of mine use a fork. Where would you come up with such a thing?
I'm just speaking the words of the SICW.
Do you work for CNN now? You're just flat out making stuff up. The wrestler uses a fork. Yeah, they'll believe that.
So, anyways, you're here tonight. You're getting your due time. Mm-hmm. So what we need to do for the fans is we need to talk about what's coming up. So let's talk a little bit about what's coming up on October 19th. SICW returns to the East Carondelet Community Center.
Otherwise known as the house that Travis built.
For the pre-Halloween bash, and already announced has been the main event. And truth be told, there is a member of the Travis Cook organization involved in the main event.
Yes, there is. Isn't there always? I mean, there should be. We're great athletes, but it's going to be a great main event. Go ahead and tell them. Okay. Go ahead and tell them what it is.
So we have the main event of Flash Flanagan and Ricky Cruz taking on the member of the Travis Cook organization, Attila Khan, and Curtis Wilde's new formed manager, bounty hunter, many
I believe
other
he's a
things.
bodyguard, is what his official
Bodyguard
position is.
Kowalski. So, what's your opinion of that match? Why was this match signed? What's going to come out of it?
Well, first of all, this match was signed because I wanted it to be, first and foremost. You've documented already the issues that I have with Flash Flanagan. You see the proof of it right now. And everybody who watches SICW knows that I've had continual issues for over a year with Ricky Cruz. I want to get rid of both of them. Attila Khan wants to get rid of both of them. Attila Khan has left both of them laying at different times. He's beaten the you-know-what out of both of them. And Kowalski and Curtis Wilde, they've got problems with both of them. So what a better situation than to get both of them in the ring with Attila Khan, with Kowalski, with a combined weight of over 700, nearly 800 pounds. And those two, Flash Flanagan and Ricky Cruz, won't be able to run. They won't be able to hide. They won't be able to escape. And they can finally get their just desserts. I think it's a masterstroke to put that match together.
Okay, so with that being said, we've seen a lot lately of Curtis Wilde and his bodyguard Kowalski kind of teaming up with the Travis Cook organization. Are they future members? Are they just other, what should I call them? People that like to capitalize on unfair advantages, similar to that of the Travis Cook organization?
Let me clear up whatever you're trying to start here. Let's put it that way. Curtis Wilde, Wildfire, and Kowalski are not members of the Travis Cook organization. There's nothing going on behind the scenes that you don't know about or anything like that. They do their own thing, and I have to admit, they're very successful in doing their own thing. Don't get me wrong. I want a member of the Travis Cook organization to get a shot at what I consider to be my belt, the Classic Wrestling Championship. If that means we have to get Curtis Wilde in the ring to do it, so be it. I'm fine with that. However, the way that people like Ricky Cruz and Flash Flanagan have conducted themselves here over a period of time has led to this point where they have multiple enemies, not just me and my organization, but now Curtis Wilde and Kowalski and Wildfire. These people like Flanagan and Ricky Cruz who have behaved in such an ungentlemanly manner for all these months, even for years, they've made enemies of so many people. Does it not make sense that some of those enemies from time to time would pool their resources to try and answer some of the things that have happened to us? I think that it would. And it speaks the fact that you say Kowalski and Khan are teaming and they're not associated together. How could that happen? It's happening because of the lack of character and the lack of compunction of people like Ricky Cruz and Flash Flanagan and how they've comported themselves in the public.
So the fans' opinion is it is a group of people that like to take unfair advantages over their opponents by the use of outside interference.
What?
But
that's not true at all.
You're saying that that's not the case.
No. First of all, I never interfere in wrestling matches. Everybody knows that. Second of all, Kowalski and Attila Khan at a combined weight of what? 800 pounds thereabout? Do you really think those two guys need somebody to interfere in a wrestling match? Do you honestly think that those two guys who are bigger than a house and just as strong, that they need anyone to interfere in a match? What? No offense to you, Wildfire, but with those two at ringside, what do you think Wildfire could do to interfere in that match? What? Nothing. They're 800 pounds. What do you think I could do to interfere in that match? Not that I ever would, but what do you think I could do? Nothing. They're 800 pounds. They can handle things on their own. I don't have to do anything. She doesn't have to do anything. They'll do it all themselves.
Well, the proof is in the pudding, per se, so we'll see what happens on October 19th. We'll see who does or does not interfere in that match.
I won't interfere at all.
And then I'm sure on October 20th, we'll be back here to talk about it. You probably won't get invited back for that night. I think you're exhausting your...
Why not? I'm giving you the biggest ratings you've ever had.
Exhausting your time limit here.
Would you kick Don Rickles off the Tonight Show? No, you wouldn't.
So, but let's talk about the rest of that card for October 19th and what else is in store. We've talked about that main event, Ricky Cruz and Flash Flanagan against Attila Khan and Kowalski. After that, we will have an Australian tag team match. Gil Rogers and Gary Jackson going against the Big Texan and the newcomer to SICW, who we saw make his debut in Swansea, the Butcher, Damian Blade.
Well, that should be a very interesting match. You know, the Butcher, Damian Blade, just got here, and I was kind of impressed with him in Swansea when he made his debut, what he did to Cayman after that match. That guy shows that he's not going to put up with an inferior tag team partner, that he's not going to put up with someone that doesn't carry his end of the load, and he put old Cayman in his place. Now, Gil Rogers and Gary Jackson, they've had some decent wins as of late. They've had a good one-loss record anyway, so they're climbing the ladder, but I don't know that they can handle a team like Big Texan and Damian Blade. I was impressed by Damian Blade.
Okay, well, let's talk about the next match involving a member of the Travis Cook organization.
So that means it's a main event on its own.
So Ken Casa will go against the Canadian hero or the ambassador of SICW, Sean Vincent.
Absolutely. And, of course, I've mentioned that Ken Casa and Chris Argus are a wonderful tag team. But for this night, I'm splitting them up into singles matches. And that's so rare that you see a tag team that is so good as a team but also are so good as singles. You know, most tag teams kind of have to specialize in that a little bit. So you think of the Rock and Roll Express, or you think of the Road Warriors, or you think of teams like that. But they never really did well when they went singles. Christopher Hargis and Ken Costa are not that way. I can put them in singles matches. I can put them in tag matches. They're going to be just as dominant either way. And the talented Ken Costa certainly has more than enough to pull Sean Vincent through his little hoop.
Well, then let's move on to the next match and talk about, you mentioned Superstar Steve Fender making his return. And he's got quite the opponent in high-flying Billy McNeil.
The wee little fellow, the wee little fellow, Billy McNeil. Yes, the superstar is back, and he's raring to go. He's in the best shape of his life. And I know Billy McNeil kind of has this reputation for punching above his weight a little bit. But he's going to be no match for the superstar. And
but Billy McNeil has not backed down from anybody.
No, he's not.
We've watched him take on the best.
He's not backed down from anybody, but he's sure gotten smacked in the mouth a few times. But the superstar might just have a secret weapon, we might say.
The Travis Cook organization bringing in secret weapons. Who would have ever thought that might be the case?
Brilliant strategy, baby. Brilliant strategy.
So let's talk about another tag match that night. The SICW Tag Team Championship titles will be on the line when the professionals defend those belts against Sid Holland and Richard Shaw.
Well, the professionals have been living up to their name. They're professionals. And I have used them in the past to do certain jobs for me, and I've hired them out at times. And now that they've won the SICW Tag Team Championship, they've defended them, quite gentlemanly and in quite an impressive sort of manner. This will be interesting, though, because McDarby and Santel, as tough as they are, they do not have necessarily the size, at least in terms of height, that other tag teams do. Yet they're incredibly ferocious. They're very tough guys. This is going to be an interesting match because this is the first time that I can recall in a while that they've defended the titles against a team that really outweighs them. And I think they're going to come through that anyway because Sid Holland and who is the other guy again? Richard Shaw. Yeah, it tells you what I think of Richard Shaw. I don't know that either one of them have what it takes to really stay in the ring with the professionals. But this is going to be interesting to see what they do with a team that's so much bigger than them. You know, what the professionals do so well is they work as a unit. Even when they're outsized, even when they're giving up some height, there's some weight, they work so well as a unit that it negates all of that. So I'm looking for that to happen in this match.
Well, let's talk about another match happening that night. And Keith Smith Jr. taking on one of the newcomers to SICW. We've seen him in a few matches. The Strangler, Roy Lewis, I'm sorry.
Well, two young, scientific wrestlers that the fans just love. And it'll be, I'm sure, a good, clean, scientific match. And gag me with a spoon.
All right, well, then let's
I
go to
couldn't care less.
Let's go to that final match of P.T. Beckham against the self-proclaimed king.
He's not self-proclaimed. He's a king. He wears a crown and everything.
Christopher
He couldn't do that if he wasn't a king.
Well, I believe I could get him a better crown by stopping at Burger King.
You don't have an ounce of blue blood in you. You don't have access to crowns or crown jewels or anything like that. But this is going to be fun because P.T. Beckham is a guy that everybody's talking about as this young wrestler who's really making his way up the ladder. He's just improved so much, they tell me. He was the guy who was here once before, and he didn't have the greatest one-loss record in the world, but to his credit, he always got in the ring, and he always gave it his best, and then I understand he left here for a while. He went around the country. He gained some confidence. He gained some experience, and now he's back, and he really thinks he's going to move up the ladder now. But you're in the ring with the king, Christopher Hargis. You're in the ring with a former classic wrestling champion and a man who could take it again if he could get another title shot. So I think P.T. Beckham's going to be rudely surprised.
But you don't anticipate any of the other members of the Travis Cook organization or Travis Cook himself becoming involved in that match.
Why would we need to? I mean, we don't do that anyway.
It
But we
seems
certainly
like a
don't
common
need to.
occurrence when
We
I
certainly
watch.
don't need to. And no, the King is more than capable of beating P.T. Beckham. I don't have any qualms about that.
Well, so that wraps up October 19th. It's going to be a great night back for the pre-Halloween bash, October 19th at the East Carondelet Community Center. Let's hear from another one of our sponsors, Barry Schulhofer with Keller Williams Realty.
Barry Schulhofer grew up in the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina, where he learned the importance of God, country, family, and the outdoors. Barry served almost 23 years in the U.S. Air Force, so he understands the unique lifestyle and challenges of being a military family, and is particularly qualified to assist military families in finding their new home. Licensed in both Illinois and Missouri, Barry loves the outdoors and has experience in land and farm sales. Barry Schulhofer is a realtor with the Keller Williams Marquee Realty and is a member of the Keller Williams Land Network. Barry is ready to help you turn your dream of land, home, or farm ownership into reality. For all your property sales and purchasing needs, contact Barry at area code 618-407-1764.
Well, Travis, you were present at the end of September at the Swansea Firehouse for a great night of wrestling entertainment. And after October 19th's match, SICW is going back on the road and returning to the Swansea Firehouse on November 2nd.
They couldn't get enough of me, could they?
Well,
Am I going to have a second place that we refer to as the house that Travis built?
well,
I think I will.
In this case, yes, you will be second place. And the reason being, the Swansea Fire Department is bringing back the legendary manager of the Four Horsemen, J.J. Dillon. And this year, J.J. Dillon is not coming alone.
He never does.
He's bringing with him the Enforcer, Arn Anderson, and wrestling legend Barry Windham.
Is that supposed to make me scared or make me shake in my boots or something like that? Really?
I just think it's...
Oh, no, Arn Anderson and Barry Windham are going to be here. Oh, no.
I think it's a way to balance the power a little bit that it might catch the Travis Cook organization off guard. But here's what I can tell you that will help you the best. That afternoon at 11 a.m., Barry Windham and J.J. Dillon are holding a wrestling seminar that you should sign all of your members up for because it is designed to teach them how to become better wrestlers. And I believe that's something that they might benefit from.
Now, let me be clear about something, and not to take anything at all away from Arn Anderson or Barry Windham or their seminar. I'm sure that will be a very helpful thing for a lot of wrestlers here in the Midwest that are coming in for that. But what you've got to understand is that the Travis Cook organization, we have our own training, our own seminars, if you want to call them that. I handle all of the fitness regimen, the training, and everything for those guys, so they get the best training anywhere in the world. But the thing is, most wrestlers don't have the chance to avail themselves of that. It's a very exclusive club, the Travis Cook organization is, so not everybody can do that. So if you're an aspiring wrestler who isn't good enough to be in the Travis Cook organization, let's face it, that's most of you, then you really do need to go to that session. I'm not going to say that it's a bad session or anything. People will get a lot out of it, I have no doubt. Arn Anderson and Barry Windham were terrific wrestlers at their point in history. But if you're inferring, that they're going to swing some kind of balance of power where the Travis Cook organization is concerned, let me just put it this way. Do you remember back in the 1980s when the Four Horsemen were well known for, jumping people in parking lots and jumping people in locker rooms and running in on matches and things like that? You remember that, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, folks, I've done more of that than they ever have. I've raised it to an art form.
So are you saying the Travis Cook organization is the Four Horsemen of the 2000s?
I'm saying we're better than the Four Horsemen. We're better than the Horsemen. We can take, when we decide we want to take people out, we'll take people out.
Okay. Well, also attending that night, we have a guest ring announcer, Robin Casella, Miss Illinois Elite Nation of States. So we look forward to a great night of wrestling entertainment.
You've heard how she got selected to be the ring announcer, didn't you?
No, but I'm sure you're probably going to tell us some Travis Cook style story.
As it turns out, the last time we were there in Swansea, she saw me when I was there. She got word that I was there, and she said, "I've got to be a part of this. You know, that I've got to come out there and weasel my way into be a ring announcer or something like that, because that Travis Cook guy, he is a hunk. I got to meet that guy." So she's doing this so that she can, in her mind, get close to me and introduce herself to me and so forth. And I can't blame her. I fall in love every time I look in the mirror too. So, who knows? Maybe she'll have her opportunity.
Well, it will definitely be a great night when SICW returns to the Swansea Firehouse on November 2nd. Tickets are selling fast. For your tickets, call 618-971-5409. There's still the ability for match sponsors, table sponsors. Anybody that wants to come out and see that great night of entertainment and see maybe what's been lined up for the Travis Cook organization that they will have to battle that night.
Well, whatever it is, we're going to be victorious. We're going to emerge victorious. And, I do want to mention something else, because we've spent a lot of time talking about myself tonight, and I don't have any problem talking about myself, of course, but I'm not a camera hog. I'm not a glory hound. I'm not someone who talks about myself all the time. I like to talk about other people, too. I like to give other people credit.
Well, good. Then we have a gentleman here that needs credit. His name's Al O'Relt. He's a great sponsor of SICW. And let's hear what he has to say about supporting SICW.
You screw up this whole program.
The law in Illinois requires you to have auto insurance, and Allstate is the one to have. For the best, check out our good friend to SICW, Al O'Relt, from Allstate Insurance. They offer the best in coverage on home, auto, and all your other insurance needs. O'Relt Insurance has 2 convenient locations to serve you better. One in Cahokia at 414 Range Lane, and in Belleville at 1030 Carlisle Avenue. Tell Al O'Relt and his staff you heard about the great deals here on the SICW Weekly Update.
Well, Travis, since I very much interrupted you, as was a necessity, who were you going to say could be more important than one of these great SICW sponsors?
You interrupted me for a guy who sells insurance. Seriously. What I was talking about before I was so rudely interrupted, where I was going to give credit, was to a man named Curtis Wilde, who is our new classic wrestling champion. Now, make no mistake, as I mentioned before, I've always in my heart of hearts felt that classic wrestling title is my belt. It's Travis's belt. Every time someone from the TCO has held it, we have put that belt on the map, whether it was Ken Casa, whether it was a Tokyo Monster Kahagas, whether it was Superstar Steve Fender, whether it was King Christopher Hardis. We've all carried that load so well. And there will be a point at which I send somebody after that title again. But Curtis Wilde, I've got to give you credit. The plan you put together to get Ricky Cruz into the ring and to lead him into walking into that trap that you laid for him, that was well done. I got to give you credit for that. That was well done. Now, something you may not have noticed, you just went through the whole card for October the 19th. Is that right?
That's correct.
That's right. And I didn't see an announcement on there of any sort of championship match for Curtis Wilde.
Do you know why that is?
I don't know, but
you might have
a pretty good idea.
Some of your unnecessary tactics. But back in September in Swansea, Curtis Wilde was teamed up with a couple of your goons, members of the Travis Cook organization, and he walked away.
Yes, he did. And I let me explain.
Not something you would expect of a true champion.
And not something I was pleased about, that's for sure. I thought he should have stayed out there. I was not happy with him for that. However, it must be said that even after he walked off, the only reason we lost that match is because Flash Flanagan used that kendo stick from behind the referee's back. So even without Curtis Wilde, we had that match won anyway. But what I was getting at before you interrupted me was that we don't have a title match set for this card. And I'm assuming you and some people out there in Facebook land are wondering why. Now, I don't know for sure, but let me give you my input as a manager who's managed champions many times over. Let me give you the skinny on what's probably going on here. whenever a championship changes hands, and you wouldn't know this because you've never managed a champion, you've never been a champion, I have. Whenever a championship changes hands, all the wrestlers come out of the woodwork and send their contracts in and put their name on a contract, and they try to put their proposals in and their offers because everybody wants a title match with the new champion. And what that does is that gives the new champion a great deal of leverage because he has all of these contracts coming in that he can look through every one of them and say, well, that's not enough money, or that's not a stipulation I'm comfortable with, or I don't want to wrestle that opponent, or that opponent's not qualified. And so I think that's what Curtis Wilde is doing right now. He is, as a very smart businessman, and as I've done in the past myself, he is trying to leverage this to get the best possible contract he can, the most favorable contract he can, the most money, the most stipulations in his favor before he'll choose to defend it against a particular person. It's a smart move. It's a great business move. I've done that in the past myself. And make no mistake, among all the people sending contracts to Curtis Wilde, I'm doing the same thing. I've got a contract out there for some of my men to wrestle them, and I hope we get selected. But I know there's a lot of other people with their offers in there as well, just as I have my offers in there. Curtis Wilde evidently is doing the smart thing. And he's leveraging this to get just the right situation for himself, the right financial situation, the right situation on stipulations and side of the match and so forth. I applaud him.
Well, I see him. Curtis is with us here now, and he's calling it the champion's advantage.
He's right. I can't say he's absolutely right.
I personally think of it as being the champion's stall tactic. This is a way for me to hold the belt another month longer. I'll run away from the matches. I'll get counted out. I'll get disqualified. But
Brian,
the future of Curtis is to be seen.
You obviously have never had a significant investment in your life that you had to protect. Some of us have. And when you have a significant investment, when you have a lucrative position that you have to protect, you don't just put it on the line willy-nilly every time someone wants you to. No, you leverage that. You put that in a situation where you can maximize that investment. I know the fans want them to defend it 7 nights a week against whoever they want, but I'm sorry. The fans aren't the one who have the investment on the line. Curtis Wilde is. At a previous time, I was. So that's what you do. I think Curtis Wilde should take the time to look through all of these contracts and find the situation that is best for him. I hope it's one of my men, because we put a very generous offer out there. But nevertheless, I hope he finds the right contract with the right money and the right type of situation for him. He's right. It is a champion's advantage, and he should take advantage of it.
Well, with that being said, let's talk about some more future dates that title match could occur. It could be November 16th when SICW returns to the East Carondelet Community Center. And guest that night is wrestling legend, none other than the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Jimmy Valiant is one of the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Odd, strange, unique, bizarre people you will ever see, not only in professional wrestling, but on planet Earth. In other words, he'll fit in very well with these fans. I'm sure they'll love to meet him.
Well, after that, SICW travels on the road again to Belleville. November 23rd, Citizens Park in Belleville, the inaugural fundraiser for the Little Devils Wrestling Club.
Belleville, Illinois, site and city where Attila Khan whooped Tommy Dreamer and sent him off into obscurity. And we're coming back. I'm coming back. The Travis Cook organization is coming back. It's going to be a great night. And I don't know who the Little Devils are, but I'm sure they'll benefit by the fact that the Travis Cook organization are going to be there, not only in terms of raising funds, but as young athletes themselves to benefit from seeing the sportsmanship that we encompass every time we go to the ring and every time we compete. It'll be a good motivational sort of thing for these young athletes.
Well, you talk about good people. Let's hear from another one of our great SICW sponsors in Brooks Motor Company.
If you're looking for that pre-owned, low-mileage vehicle, Brooks Motor Company is the place. Check out their large inventory of pre-owned cars, trucks, and motorcycles. Tell Bobby and Charlie Brooks you heard about their great deals here at the SICW Weekly Update. That's Brooks Motor Company, 8818 Summer Road, Columbia, Illinois. Family owned and operated since 2006.
Well, Travis, we've walked through the year. You've had been very opinionated about all the obstacles that will be in the way of the Travis Cook organization. So the last match of the year, the Holiday Spectacular, Saturday, December 28th, when SICW returns to East Caron Lake Community Center. Let me guess, you got something against Santa Claus as well.
I don't have anything against Santa Claus. What do you make me out to be some sort of ogre, some sort of bad person? No, I'm perfectly fine with Santa Claus, but just don't break and enter into my house, okay? Because I have the alarm set. So if you come down the chimney, the cops might get called. But no, if you want them to break into your house, it's fine.
So a great way to wrap up the year. SICW will return December 28th to the East Carondelet Community Center for the Holiday Spectacular. When it comes to celebrating the holidays, we also like to mention one of our great sponsors in Gray Eagle Distributing.
A cold beverage and SICW action goes together. When you reach for that cold beverage, reach for the best. For the best, it's that Anheuser-Busch product from Gray Eagle Distributing. From the late 1950s, Anheuser-Busch was the sponsor of Wrestling at the Chase. Now Gray Eagle Distributing in Belleville, Illinois continues that history of sponsoring SICW. Remember, when you want that cold, refreshing beverage, reach for the best, that Gray Eagle product.
You just run that ad so you can get free beer, don't you?
Well, they are a longtime sponsor of wrestling. It has been said many times, one of the original sponsors of Wrestling at the Chase and Busch Bavarian Beer, and they're continuing that tradition today with Gray Eagle Distributing. So I think they're what's keeping the checks coming towards Travis Cook.
Well, I'm sure they are, because when you're a company like that, you want to have endorsements, you want to have sponsorships from people who are stars, from great athletes. It's no different than when you go out and get a Mark McGuire or a Michael Jordan or someone like that, like Nike does. That's what Busch Bavarian's doing with us, and we're happy to help, and we're happy that you keep giving us those checks.
I would agree that SICW is in that same clientele, just not so certain that the Travis Cook organization is what they're leading up to. But in the end, we've talked about the past. We've talked about what's happening now. We talk about what's to come. Let's talk a little bit now. Let's hear a little bit from the ace himself about
the ace.
The ace, Cowboy Bob Orton.
Oh, come on.
And the Ace Wrestling Academy.
You woke him up?
That happens here at SICW. Some true up-and-coming professionals there that could be the nemesis of the Travis Cook organization in the coming future.
Really? You're telling me a bunch of people that just signed up for wrestling school and haven't even gotten their feet wet yet are going to be a nemesis to my folks? No, hey, don't get me wrong. Bob Orton was a great wrestler in his day. He was one of the best. I will admit that. and I'm sure that young people can benefit from his training and his expertise. But don't conflate that with the training that the Travis Cook organization goes through. I have a state-of-the-art facility. I have not only great in-ring training and great conditioning for my wrestlers, but we have acupuncture that we work with them on. We have all kinds of spa days for them so that their muscles can be just perfectly conditioned and toned and ready for the action out there. We have some nice jacuzzis and things like that. So it's an entirely different level than what Bob Orton's doing. Now, I'm sure what Bob is doing is good, but let's not compare it to what I'm doing.
Well, we talk about the up-and-comers in the Ace Wrestling Academy. Let's take a look at one particular wrestler that's been going through several matches lately, and that's Chris Cade.
Shows around the area and stuff like that. Fantastic. Just remember, when you go out there, make them feel it.
Yes, sir.
That's it. That's all you got to do, man. Just keep working hard.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You darn betcha.
So there's an up-and-comer in SICW. He's had a few matches, but it looks like he's got a strong future here with SICW.
It does? It looks like he's got a strong future, really?
Yes.
I watched that video very closely because, unlike you, I'm an expert in professional wrestling. And what I gathered from that video is he can do a headlock. Okay, you can do a headlock. He can do a wrist lock. And he can switch out of a go-behind. Okay, those are good things to know, but that doesn't make you a successful professional wrestler. Now, you say he's up and coming. He's got a great future. How many matches has Chris Cade won in SICW? Zero. The answer is zero. He's 0 forever. He's never won a match. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be that way forever, and I'm sure Bob Orton's training is doing the kids some good, but you got to have a little something in you there. And you're putting the time on this program out here to show a video of a guy that's never won a match when you could have shown a video of Attila Khan. You could have shown a video of Ken Costa and Chris Hargis. You could have shown a video of superstar Steve Fender, people who have won matches and won championships and who the people already love. Or you could have shown the video of me that a fan did a few weeks ago, a video of me to that song by Bette Midler, Wind Beneath My Wings, because I'm such an inspiration to people. You could have shown that. But no, you showed a video of a guy working out who's never won a match.
Well, Travis, there's a lot of would've, could've, should've. But at the end of the day, all we were required to do was give you camera time. And I believe we've gone well above and beyond that camera time that your contract deserves. The SICW fans, unfortunately, have had to sit through almost an hour.
They've been enlightened. They've been entertained
of this behavior.
They've had the best wrestling show they've seen since Wrestling in the Chase went off the air.
But now all we can tell them is October 19th, East Carondelet Community Center. Come out. The doors open at 6. The bell time's at 7. And take a look at all of the matches that we went through tonight and just what's going to happen. And see if the Travis Cook organization is truly on the up and up as the professionals he describes them to be tonight.
We are going to be dominant. You are going to enjoy it. Come on out and see the 4 best athletes you're ever going to see in a wrestling ring. Attila Khan, King Christopher Hargis, the talented Ken Casa, and the superstar Steve Fender.
So until next Sunday night at 8 p.m., this is Brian Whitaker here thanking you on behalf of promoter Herb Simmons for joining myself.
Who was too cowardly to show up, by the way.
And Travis Cook due to his contractual obligation here on the Sunday Night Update.